Hey YouTubers, do a quick DIY video here for you. Can anybody guess what we're looking at? Yeah, it kind of looks like a trash can, doesn't it? Yep, definitely looks like a trash can. Well, that's what it is. Would have liked to have gone to one of my local bakeries or food supply houses or whatever and got one of those blue ones for free, but unfortunately in this area that was also something that wasn't readily available. And the one place that I did find that had them, they wanted to sell it to me. So I went to Lowe's and picked up a $15 trash can. And you might ask, why did I pick up a trash can, and why are we talking about a trash can? Well, one of the things that I've run across, and I'm sure you guys have too, you guys and gals, is when doing water changes during the summertime, it isn't that much of a problem, depending on what part of the world you live in. But for the most part, the water that comes out of the spigot is not too awfully cold. And in certain parts of the world you could actually just run it straight out of the spigot and straight into your tank without having to do anything to adjust temperature. Unfortunately for us, we also have what we call winter. And at winter time, when you turn the water on, it is really, really cold, which is not very conducive to tropical fish that like their water temperature from 75 to 85 degrees. So, what do? We normally add in some hot water. Well, not only is that costly because we have to heat that water and reheat it after we've used it to refill our tanks, but it also introduces some chemical I'm not sure exactly how it all goes. You'd have to go to a scientist to get all the things. One of the guys on YouTube might be able to explain it a little bit better, but hotter water does introduce some chemicals that are not in colder water. And it also adds in extra nitrogen because of the way the heat interacts with the molecules in the water, yada, yada, yada. Like I say, you'll have to go to a scientist to get all that stuff. Needless to say, it's not as good as just using regular tap water. Okay, so what's a fix for it? You can go out and spend thousands of dollars and get one of those reverse osmosis type things with some holding tanks and heaters in them and air stones and blah, 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 and I know that a lot of you, like me, don't have $1,000 to dump on our hobby that way. So for the rest of us, I kind of figured this might work out for me, and like I say, it's your basic average run-of-the-mill rubber or plastic trash can. Never been used, was thoroughly rinsed when I got it home, and I got on eBay, and they have this little 12 volt DC pump on eBay. If you just put in 12 volt pump, you'll see this thing. It's a micro something or other for about I think it was $13 or $14, free shipping, comes from China of course. And I went to Lowe's and I picked up the hose, and that was all of I think $4 for 20 feet of it. And the only other thing I had to buy was that this came with just a bare wires on the end, so I had to buy a connector from Radio Shack, which was $2, so that I could plug up a 12 volt power supply. So if you hadn't already from the video figured it out, the intake goes down into the barrel, the output goes up over to the tank, which I've clipped on, and is feeding the tank, which I'm in the middle of water changes right now. So, simple enough. I still use my Python, which is over here right now. So use my Python to draw the water out, and probably during the hotter part of the summer and stuff, I'll probably use it for refilling too, and just add the dechlorinator as it fills the tank. But in the wintertime, now I have this. And what I can do is use the Python to siphon the water out. And I can bring this guy in here the day before I do my water changes. And use the Python to fill this thing up. Add a little dechlorinator, or not. I could just throw an air stone in it and let it aerate the chlorine. Chlorine will release to the air. Once it hits the surface or whatever and is agitated, it will release into the air and go bye-bye. So you can naturally dechlorinate the water without having to use any prime or any kind of dechlorinator of your choice. You can also add any chemicals. If you have discus and you have hard water and you want to soften your water, you can pre-soften it ahead of time. If you have African cichlids and you got soft water, you can put it in here and you can add whatever it is you add to it to make the water harder and more alkaline. And do all this ahead of time. And then let it sit overnight, or if it's in the dead of winter and it's really, really cold, maybe 2 days ahead, and let it get to room temperature. Water's room temperature, which is a heck of a lot closer to the temperature of the tanks. Comes water time, you grab your siphon, you siphon the water out you want to get rid of in the tank, and then you take the hose, hook it up to the tank, plug it in. You got your water already pre-treated and pre-ready to go, and happy fish, happy plants, and actually it makes for a happy me at least. It's a heck of a lot easier on me. And then when you're done, you just coil your hoses up and you put your cord. I just put it in the handle here, stick it down on the handle there. Coil the cords up, throw them in there, throw the Python in there, throw the lid on top, drag it into another room, drag it out to the garage, wherever you want to store it or whatever like that, and it's out of sight, out of mind. And, I mean, being that when this thing is empty, it doesn't weigh but a couple pounds. It's not hard to move. Sounded like a good idea to me, and this is my first time giving it a test run. The little pump, I think it's supposed to be rated at like 240 gallons per hour or whatever. I drained, that's a 20 long, and I drained about half out of that, so you figure about 9 gallons or whatever, and it's taken about, probably a minute or so before I started this video to fill it that far, and you see it's just getting up to the edge there. So let's see, I got 8 minutes on this movie, figure about 10 minutes for about 9 gallons, 10 gallons somewhere in there. And I mean, are we really in a hurry when it comes to refilling the water? You know, the whole idea is to keep the fish as stress-free as possible. So that's my DIY project. Like I say, you can find the pump. That's a 12-volt mini or micro pump or whatever like that. Runs about $13 to $15 on eBay out of China. Free shipping on most of them. You do have to buy the little end connector, or if you want to, you can just lop off the end. You do have to have a 12-volt DC adapter. But you know, with all the electronics we got laying around that have been junked since, if you hung on to any of those, you know, you should have one laying around somewhere. So you can either lop off the end and then just connect the wires, or I chose to put the plug on the end because in case I want to use something else. And a little bit of hosing that costs a couple of bucks. And a trash can. Pretty simple. Hope this can help some of you. I am going to get back to finishing up my water changes here. It looks like the 20 is getting close to where I'm going to have to switch the hose over here. The only thing new is that I went out to 2 different PetSmarts today. One that was closest to me. I got, ooh, look at the Amano shrimp. Man, I barely ever see him. Look at that Amano shrimp. Sitting up grazing on top. Went out to the 2 local PetSmarts They have neon tetras on sale for $1. First one I went to, they were ultra small, and I got 10 of them because there was only about 13 in the tank in there. So I had the girl fish me out 10 of them, and before I even got to the counter, 2 of them looked like they were about dying. So I took them back and she got me a couple more, and after going through that 3 times, I finally got 10 that looked like they might make it home. And I jumped in the car and rode down the street about 15 minutes to the other PetSmart and got another 10 from them, and I should have gone there first, because if you can look back in there, you can probably see some of them swimming around. And they are all happy and healthy and just living away. The first 10 I got from the first PetSmart, which was also the same PetSmart that I got the guppies from about a year ago that killed everything in my tank, are all dead. Every one of them, 10 for 10. Half of them were dead when I got home, and the other half died as I was trying to set them up to acclimate them. So I guess I'm not really slamming PetSmart so much as a company, but it pays to, you know, check around to different PetSmarts, because, like I say, the second store I went to, which was a couple miles away, it's a little further away from my house, they're healthy and they're happy and they're good, and every fish that I've gotten from that particular store has done well. But the one that's closest to me, go figure, is a hellhole, I guess. Anyways, we're pushing 12 minutes here on the video, so if you're still with me, I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. Got any questions about the setup for this, leave it down in the comments or IM me. I'll be glad to send you any information or let you know whatever it is you need to know. And we'll talk to you soon.